Hey, thanks for coming back. My name is Pierre Bittaby, and this is Generation Studios. And today I'm trying out a new mic, and I hope that works a bit better. Audio is very important when you are doing video, and it can turn people off very quickly if your audio setup is not quite up to par. I try not to make so many videos all at once so that the mistakes don't spread throughout all of them. So I might just try to make maybe 2 or 3 tonight. It saves me time throughout the week, so I don't have to make videos every day. I'm just starting this out, and I really don't have a schedule set up properly yet. As for today, though, I wanted to talk a little bit business, with you today. Have a discussion about what my plans are going for into 2020, and possibly to motivate you to kind of see what's going on and see what you can do in your own creative effort. For a long time, I've wanted to produce my own original works, my own indie creations. And for a long time, I was afraid and discouraged to do so because I really didn't see an outlet that had a high enough chance of success to reach my audience, for the audience to like it enough and pay for the content, and for me to be compensated for the effort and resources I put into it. So it just didn't seem worth the effort for a long time. And this is going way back, even before I started college. And when I started college, as I went through some of the film course and I picked up information here and there, and had discussions with professors and whatnot, I began to formulate a plan because I found a problem. There's the barriers to entry into the Hollywood arena, let's say. The barriers to entry are so high, for the average person, unless they have connections or wealthy family members, or if they're very extremely talented or happen to be in the right place at the right time, or any number of reasons why people become famous and popular and have their personal works produced in Hollywood. I knew that the chances were very slim for me to do the same thing. So I wanted to even out those chances. I was watching a show once that said, if you had a 1% chance of doing something, then you probably wouldn't do it. But what if you can turn that 1% into 10%, or that 10% into 50%, or 100%? So I started to think, how can I even the odds? How can I even the playing field for just getting my, basic, relatively amateurish work out to a professional level, and then to have it compete on the professional playing field? So in college, what I began to do was I began to formulate a plan, and basically involved what we would now call as crowdfunding. Back then, it wasn't really, that term wasn't really that popular. And I realized social media back then, which was not that far, I don't want to keep saying back then, but not too long ago, social media was not what it is now. It was, no one thought of, like I remember having a discussion with one of my professors, and they thought about having ads and movie ads on your smartphone was like way into the future. And back then I foresaw that coming. I was like, that's a major way for people to advertise their products and their films and everything. And you can completely skip the national ads and everything on television and whatnot. You don't have to pay millions for advertising. And if you don't advertise, you can't reach an audience. And that audience does not know about your product, that your product or service that you're offering. They're not going to go out and try and and search into the marketplace and buy it. If they don't buy it, you're not going to get revenue. If you don't get revenue, you're not going to be able to pay off your expenses and make a profit. So advertising is very important. So back then, I realized, this is before social media came to where it is now. I realized the importance of advertising and the importance of saving costs for the little guy. And all of it basically revolves around, one is crowdfunding, and it is collaboration. Working with those that are like-minded with you, and advertising through other people who are like-minded with you. So as I'm making Generation Studios right now, I'm doing both. I have the GoFundMe set up to receive donations or support from anyone who is interested in what I'm doing. And I'm also trying to connect with bigger entities and more experienced individuals who can help me on that journey to one day build up that brand. And when I build up the brand Generation Studios, I'm going to come back and turn around, and I'm going to help the other people that are like me as well, so that we can change the industry or make a little niche group in the industry that can be an outlet for creative ideas and have some variety and some competition back in the industry, instead of a bunch of people patting each other's back and producing things that no one wants and forcing it down your throat, along with political message and stuff that we so commonly see now. So in the days to come and the weeks to come, I'm going to be, I guess you can say, I'm going to be making a small little course of all the ideas that I came up with in college and university, and applying them to today, because some things have changed since I thought those things out. One thing is, one major difference I would say is I depended on live action, because at the time, anything else would be just too time consuming, and too expensive. Like making animated films it was out of the reach of the average person then. But today you can buy a computer for about $2,000 or so, and you can download state-of-the-art animation programs. Like one is Unreal Engine, another one is Blender, there's Unity, there's iClone 7. There's so many animation options to create high-level animated films now. I'm not talking about the low-level stuff. I'm talking about the high-level, high-end, amazing-looking, 3D animation, not the cheap stuff. The stuff that will keep an audience captivated and coming back for more. So with technology advancing, you have the price of things coming down and lower and lower and lower. Like once upon a time, if you want a shot of a city skyline at night, you have to hire a pilot. You have to have a high definition camera on a gimbal on a helicopter to fly over a city, all of which costs thousands of dollars. And then you have to have the city's approval to do it. That alone is just tens of thousands of dollars to just get a night shot of a city skyline that you're only going to use in your film for a couple seconds. But technology advanced so much more, we can just put up a drone. A drone costs like maybe a really good one that's 4K and good stability and night modes and stuff like that. A really good one, probably like $1,000 to $2,000. You can buy that with your credit card on at Best Buy and pay it off over the next 2 years if you wanted to. There's so many financial options, so many resources to produce low budget, high quality films. But I think one point of advice for new creators and filmmakers out there, especially the Christian and conservative ones, because they're just getting their butt kicked when they're trying to compete with bigger budget, high quality other live action films, a point of advice is try leaving live action behind, because with live action, you need to have contracts with your actors. You have to pay them enough, and the better the actor, the more money that they're going to request. I remember seeing one actress was paid $50 million. Like, well, why does anyone need $50 million? You know, for a role that you don't even remember. She just has connections and access to the entertainment world. Thus, she can be paid that much. So if you have 3D characters, you can create any character you want. You can take a picture of someone's face and you have a 3D rendering of that person's face. And these are all things I'm going to talk about more in the future, what I'm specifically doing to bring down the cost and increase the quality as we go into 2020. I have some original ideas and creations that, some original stories that I want to produce, and I'm going to use 3D filmmaking to do it. So this is maybe like, you know, this is going to be a multi-part thing. I'm going to have to explain a lot of this in detail. And I don't want to have very long, rambling videos for the sake of quality and for the sake of your time too. But I just want to say, point one was to leave live action behind, because you cannot compete with the industry level live action films and series. The other point was, as technology comes along, the things that are in the past that were expensive will be replaced with lower cost alternatives. So instead of having an expensive helicopter shot, you can have a very high-end drone shot. You know, and to control a drone is like playing a video game. You know, and that's another thing. The video game industry is becoming so big and so prolific that the viewer is becoming visually accustomed to 3D animation. And if you look at the Marvel films, and especially the one from last year, I can't remember, the War for the Infinity Stones, I can't remember the title right now, but if you look at that, the majority of that film is 3D. If you look at Transformers, 3D. These are films that cost $300-400 million to create. And I'm not saying that you're going to get that level of animation quality, but you're going to be able to have high enough quality to captivate an audience in spite of high budget, you know, ticket film. So for the creators that are going to stick around at YouTube and other places like that, I want to say, try as they crunch down, kind of as Silicon Valley and places that offer social media streaming for the public, as they come down on you, when you put it in a tight spot, you're going to be forced to advance. You know, and that's the human story, where you are forced to advance and you're forced to innovate and you're forced to overcome. That's how advance and progress is made from one generation to the next. So as we go into 2020, I know a lot of people are giving up on YouTube and a lot of people are giving up on streaming. But I'll say this, that if you spent the last few years building up this significant following, whatever size that may be, before you decide to just throw that away, before you decide to throw that away and move to another platform where some of those people may not follow you for whatever reason, I'll say this, that before you leave or before you decide to leave or whatever, because I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube about that. A lot of people have just fed up with YouTube, you know, and they're on their way out. They're building other platforms, other distribution platforms, which is totally fine, and that's something I want to cover in the future too. But before you do that, I'll say build as many relationships with as many of your viewers as possible, the people who are really trying to actually collaborate with you. So that's, you know, I feel like I'm one of those people. If you're into video games or if you're into film, if you're a Christian or not, a conservative or not, if you're apolitical, it doesn't matter. If you really want to work together with someone that's also interested in creating, then, my contact information is freely available on my channel. And if you know anyone else who's kind of struggling on their own, they don't have to do that. There's so many of us out here that are willing to work together. So as the days and weeks progress, I've been very busy lately. I sent 120 fundraising emails over the weekend, and I still have more to do. And there's so much is going on for me on my end, at this time of the year. But as time goes on, I plan to go into more detail about what I'm actually doing. And when I get the software and the hardware ready to make animated films, I'm going to show you the process that I'm going to go through, because I think animation is a cost-effective, quality option that we all have access to. And I think we need to explore it in the future. So if you have anything you want to say, or if you want to collaborate, or if you want to just talk, or whatever it is, just shoot me an email, or you can find me on Facebook or Twitter, or you can leave a comment and I read that. And if you're interested in what I'm specifically doing, then I also have a GoFundMe up that you can donate or share or be involved in. So thanks for showing up, and I'll catch you later.